welcome back. Let's try again. So it's 8 p.m. and I finished my day. I'm uploading video. I have eaten some fruits. I'm a little bit more awake now. And I still need to make a video in English about the Boeing 737. I did it Danish, so this been open like 2 weeks ago. But because it's 2 weeks ago, I need to read it again before I make a video in English. I need to do the same with the Ryanair and Southwest Airlines. I need to do that, but I'll do that tomorrow. I'll just follow a flight from Cape Town to Luanda in Angola. I follow on my flight radar. This is what I'm uploading, and I eat my hot foods. And I will video about that. So actually I'm finished for today. I did pay all my bills today, my rents, $1,000 to my debts. Now it's 8:15, so let's just go to bed and read this. But maybe I'm too tired to make this English video today. But first I need to refresh my knowledge of the Boeing 737. I like this aircraft. That's a very nice small airline. Not an airline, it's a small nice aircraft. So just read from the top again.
Boeing 737. Boeing 737 South African Airlink Boeing 737-200 Advanced Smith.jpg. A Boeing 737-200, the first mass-produced 737 model, in operation with South African Airlink in 2007. Narrow-body airliner, national origin United States manufacturer. Boeing first flight April 9, 1967. Introduction February 10, 1968. With Lufthansa status in service. Primary users Southwest Airlines, Ryanair, United Airlines, American Airlines. Produced 1966. Present number built 11,377 as of March 2023. 1. Variants Boeing T-43 developed into Boeing 737 Classic. Boeing 737 Next Generation. Boeing 737 MAX. The Boeing 737 is a narrow-body aircraft produced by Boeing at its Renton factory in Washington. Developed to supplement the Boeing 727 on short and thin routes. The twinjet retains the 707 fuselage with tan 6 abreast seating but with 2 underwing turbofans instead of 4. Envisioned in 1964. The initial 737-100 made its first flight in April 1967 and entered service in February 1968 with Lufthansa. The lengthened 737-200 entered service in April 1968 and evolved through 4 generations, offering several variants for 85 to 215 passengers. The 737-100/200 original variants were powered by Pratt & Whitney JT8D low bypass engines and offered seating for 85 to 130 passengers. Launched in 1980 and introduced in 1984. The 737 Classic-300/400/500 variants were upgraded with CFM56-3 turbofans and offered 110 to 168 seats. Introduced in 1997, the 737 Next Generation, Inc. 700/800/900 variants have updated CFM56-7 turbofans, a larger wing and an upgraded glass cockpit, and seat 108 to 215 passengers. The latest generation, the 737 MAX, 737-8/9/10 MAX, powered by improved CFM LEAP 1B high bypass turbofans and accommodating 138 to 204 people, entered service in 2017. Boeing business jet versions are produced since the 737ing, as well as military models. As of March 2023, 15,596 Boeing 737s have been ordered and 11,377 delivered. Initially, its main competitor was the McDonnell Douglas DC-9, followed by its MD-80/MD-90 derivatives. In 2013, the global 737 fleet had completed more than 184 million flights over 264 million block hours since its entry into service. It was highest-selling commercial aircraft until being surpassed by the competing Airbus A320 family in October 2019, but maintains the record in total deliveries. The 737 MAX, designed to compete with the A320neo, was grounded worldwide between March 2019 and November 2020 following two fatal crashes. Development 1964 concept with tail-mounted engines. October 18, 1966. Jet aircraft patent filed the 22nd of June 1965. By John Steiner and Joe Sutter for Boeing initial design. Boeing had been studying short-haul jet aircraft designs, and saw a need for a new aircraft to supplement the 727 on short and thin routes. 2. Preliminary design work began on the 11th of May, 1964. 3. Based on research that indicated a market for a 50 to 60 passenger airliner flying routes of 50 to 1,000 miles. 100 to 1,600 km. 2. 4. The initial concept featured pod engines on the aft fuselage, a T-tail as with the 727, and 5 abreast seating. Engineer Joe Sutter relocated the engines to the wings, which lightened the structure and simplified accommodation of 6 abreast seating in the fuselage. 5. The engine nacelles were mounted directly to the underside of the wings, without pylons, allowing the landing gear to be shortened, thus lowering the fuselage to improve baggage and passenger access. 6. Relocating the engines from the aft fuselage also allowed the horizontal stabilizer to be attached to the aft fuselage instead of as a T-tail. 7. Many designs for the engine attachment strut were tested in the wind tunnel, and the optimal shape for high speed was found to be one which was relatively thick, filling the narrow channels formed between the wing and the top of the nacelle, particularly on the outboard side. At the time, Boeing was far behind its competitors. The SE-210 Caravel had been in service since 1955, and the Bacone 11, BAC 111, Douglas DC-9, and Fokker F-28 were already into flight certification. 8. To expedite air development, Boeing used 60% of the structure and systems of the existing 727, particularly the fuselage, which differs in length only. This 148-inch, 3.76 m, wide fuselage cross-section permitted 6 abreast seating compared to the rival's 5 abreast. The 727's fuselage was derived from the 707.9. The proposed wing airfoil sections were based on those of the 707 and 727, but somewhat thicker. Altering these sections near the nacelles achieved a substantial drag reduction at high Mach numbers. 10. The engine chosen was the Pratt & Whitney JT8D1 low bypass ratio turbofan engine, delivering 14,500 pounds force, 64 kN, of thrust. 11. The concept design was presented in October 1964 at the Air Transport Association Maintenance and Engineering Conference by Chief Project Engineer Jack Steiner, where its elaborate high-lift devices raised concerns about maintenance costs and dispatch reliability. 5. Major design developments. The original 737 continued to be developed into 13 passenger, cargo, corporate and military variants. These were later divided into what has become known as the 4 generations of the Boeing 737 family. The first generation original series, the 737-100 and -200, also the military T-43 and C-43, launched February 1965. The second generation classic series, 737-300, -400 and -500, launched in 1979. The third generation next generation series, 737-600, -700, -800 and -900, also the military C-40 and P-8, launched late 1993. A comparison of the first 3 generations. The fourth generation 737 MAX series, 737-7, -8, -9 and -10, launched August 2011. Launch. The launch decision for the $150 million development was made by the board on February 1, 1965. Lufthansa became the launch customer on the 19th of February, 1965, 9, with an order for 21 aircraft, worth $67 million, 8, after the airline had been assured by Boeing that the 737 project would not be cancelled. 12. Consultation with Lufthansa over the previous winter had resulted in the seating capacity being increased to 100. 9. On the 5th of April, 1965, Boeing announced an order by United Airlines for 47 737s. United wanted a slightly larger capacity than the 737-100, so the fuselage was stretched 36 inches, 91 centimeters, ahead of, and 40 inches, 102 centimeters, behind the wing. 7. The longer version was designated the 737-200, with the original short-body aircraft becoming the 737-100. 13. Detailed design work continued on both variants simultaneously. Introduction. Lufthansa 737-100 in flight. 737-100 introduced by Lufthansa on February 10, 1968. The first -100 was rolled out on the 17th of January, 1967, and took its maiden flight on the 9th of April, 1967, piloted by Brian Wiglin-Wolick. 14. After several test flights, the Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, issued Type Certificate A16W certifying the 737-100 for commercial flight on the 15th of December, 1967. 15. 16. It was the first aircraft to have, as part of its initial certification, approval for Category 2 approaches. 17. Which refers to a precision instrument approach and landing with a decision height between 98 to 197 feet, 30 to 60 m. 18. Lufthansa received its first aircraft on the 28th of December, 1967 and on the 10th of February, 1968, became the first non-American airline to launch a new Boeing aircraft. 15. Lufthansa was the only significant customer to purchase the 737-100 and only 30 aircraft were produced. 19. The -200 was rolled out on the 29th of June, 1967, and had its maiden flight on the 8th of August, 1967. It was then certified by the FAA on the 21st of December, 1967. 16:20. The inaugural flight for United Airlines took place on the 28th of April, 1968, from Chicago to Grand Rapids, Michigan. 15. The lengthened -200 was widely preferred over the -100 by airlines. 21. The improved version, the 737-200 Advanced, was introduced into service by All Nippon Airways on the 20th of May, 1971. 22. The 737 original model with its variants, known later as the Boeing 737 original, initially competed with SE-210 Caravelle and BAC 111 due to their earlier entry into service and later primarily with the McDonnell Douglas DC-9, then its MD-80 derivatives as the three European short-haul single-aisles slowly withdrew from the competition. Sales were low in the early 1970s, 23, and, after a peak of 114 deliveries in 1969, only 22 737s were shipped in 1972 with 19 in backlog. The U.S. Air Force saved the program by ordering T-43s, which were modified Boeing 737-200s. African airline orders kept the production running until the 1978 U.S. Airline Deregulation Act, which improved demand for six-abreast narrow-body aircraft. Demand further increased after being re-engined with the CFM56.5. The 737 went on to become the highest-selling commercial aircraft until surpassed by the competing Airbus A320 family in October 2019, but maintains the record in total deliveries. 24. The fuselage is manufactured in Wichita, Kansas, by Boeing spin-off company Spirit AeroSystems, before being moved by rail to Renton. 25. Generations and variants. 737 original, first generation. The Boeing 737 original is the name given to the -100/200 and -200 advanced series of the Boeing 737 family. 737-100. The first Boeing 737-130 used as prototype and later operated by NASA. The initial model was the 737-100, the smallest variant of the 737 aircraft family, which was launched in February 1965 and entered service with Lufthansa in February 1968. In 1968, its unit cost was $3.7 M. 1968, $28.8 million today. A total of 37 737-100s were ordered, 22 by Lufthansa, 5 by Malaysia Singapore Airlines, MSA, and 2 by Avianca, with final commercial aircraft delivered to MSA on the 31st of October, 1969. The first aircraft used by Boeing as prototype under registration N73700 was later ordered by and delivered to NASA on the 26th of July, 1973, which then operated it under registration N515 and retired after 30 years on the 27th of September, 2003. This was the last operated 737-100 and is the only remaining worldwide, which is on static display in the Museum of Flight in Seattle. 27. 28. The original engine nacelles incorporated thrust reversers taken from the 727 outboard nacelles. They proved to be relatively ineffective and tended to lift the aircraft up off the runway when deployed. This reduced the downforce on the main wheels, thereby reducing the effectiveness of the wheel brakes. In 1968, an improvement to the thrust reversal system was introduced. 29. A 48-inch tailpipe